You're listening to Live Wild Radio, the part-time adventure podcast.
Join us as we explore how outdoor adventures build mind, body, and spirit.
Welcome back to Live Wild Radio, the fitness and adventure podcast. This is a solo episode with me, Coach Winston. Yay! Somebody had sent in and they gave us some nice compliments on the show and said that my voice was very soothing to listen to, which is a very nice compliment. At least they didn't say I had a face for radio. So today's episode is going to be about a cool little concept called Myo Reps. They are think of them as a time-efficient method to build more muscle in less time. And I'm going to get into a little bit of why building muscle is important, and some of the theory concepts behind building muscle. And then I'll get into what Myo Reps are, because you kind of have to understand. So first off, why building muscle is important. Well, especially if you are over 40. If you've ever been told, you have high blood pressure, or you have high blood sugar, or you have, you're pre-diabetic or type 2 diabetic, or any kind of the metabolic illnesses, one of the most effective ways to treat those, and if you talk to any honest doctor, will tell you you can get more benefit out of diet and exercise than you can out of any drug prescription they can give you. Just most people won't do the work. But as a coach and personal trainer for knocking on the door to 30 years now, I have had so many clients come in because they are dealing with this. Whether it's high blood pressure, high blood sugar, triglycerides, any of these types of, like basically cholesterol issues or, what have you. And basically over the course of 3 to 6 months, when they go to their doctor again and get everything checked, and their doctor's like, I don't know what the fuck you've been doing, but keep doing it. It's like blood sugar problems gone. Don't need metformin, or, in worst case, like some people, who've had to start using insulin, just don't anymore. That's how powerful these types of things are. So, when it comes to metabolic illnesses, like type 2 diabetes, muscles are your glucose storage, the predominant amount of it. So the bigger your muscles, the bigger storage tank you have. So then the easier it is to manage your blood sugar. And then the type of training that you need to do that will increase your muscle size also improves insulin sensitivity. So we kind of have this twofer, right? Because obviously the more storage room we have for glucose, the less elevated blood sugar problems you're going to have. The more sensitive your muscles are to insulin, the less elevated insulin you're going to have. All of this works to make your body function more efficiently, doesn't age as quickly. Everything is all good. And then there's think of it as like, this is the short to medium to long-term health benefit of bigger muscles. But then the other is bigger muscles, all things being equal, will be stronger muscles. So if you have stronger muscles, then as you age, the age-related frailty, the weakness, will be mitigated, right? So whether it's getting up out of bed, getting off the toilet, getting up and down off the floor, going up the stairs, putting your suitcase into the overhead compartment on an airplane, all of the things that, are just kind of base level, everyday human things, the fitter and stronger you are, the easier all of those day-to-day things are. That's just math. If your suitcase weighs 20 pounds, and you can press 100 pounds overhead, putting your suitcase is easy. right? Simple. And if you keep maintaining that, you can maintain it well into your way elderly years. There's a lot of strong as fuck old people, but it's because they were strong as fuck younger people when they built up, right? So there's that. Then one of the other benefits of muscles and strength is injury prevention. Nobody who can deadlift 300 pounds and suitcase carry, 60 to 100 pounds in a hand, throws their back out picking up the groceries, or shoveling snow, right? It just doesn't happen. And when you do get injured, you recover quicker because you're stronger. So, there's all of these benefits that come from building muscle, and building strength, because they're very closely related. So, if you basically become a little more jacked, right? And we don't have to become pro bodybuilders. We don't have to be, in Speedos on stage, all oiled up with fake tan and all that bullshit. We're just talking about, if currently you've got 50 pounds of lean muscle tissue in your body, going to 60 or 70, whatever it happens to be. It's just more. It doesn't mean you have to be, now every meal is chicken, rice, and broccoli like you're a pro bodybuilder. That's not what we're talking, but there is a spectrum. If you think about somebody with no muscle mass at all, and then on the other end is your roided up pro bodybuilder that looks like a cartoon character, there is still somewhere in the middle that will be optimally healthy for you. And the reality is, based on all the data we have, most people in society, the biggest thing they will benefit from, and this is men and women, is more muscle mass. More muscle mass. It has all the benefits I just talked about. The other one is the more muscle you have, the higher your metabolism is. You just will burn more calories, period. If you have more fat on you, you don't burn more calories, right? You've stored calories. So two people of the same weight, but one has more muscle mass, that person doing nothing will burn more calories. And generally will be fitter, so they can do more stuff anyway, which will burn more calories. They tend to be more active. So bunch of benefits to having more muscle. So now that we understand that, now we get into the thing of how you build muscle. Muscles grow. Three mechanisms have been put forth in the scientific community. One is mechanical tension, just load on the muscle. The other is muscle damage. And the third is metabolic stress. And from what we're seeing, the two, mechanical tension and metabolic stress, are the two main drivers, with mechanical tension being the biggest one. So if you think about metabolic stress, that's the pump and the burn. That's the fun part of upper body workout anyway. So what we want to focus on is subjecting the muscles to adequate tension that it triggers a growth response and obviously a strength building response. And we know to do this, it means, taking sets of anywhere from 5 to 30 reps close to muscular failure. And muscular failure is the point at which you can't lift it again with good form. And accumulating an adequate amount of volume, enough hard sets. And one of the things we run into is with all the research, is anywhere for a new trainee, like 4 sets a week per muscle group. If those sets are taken close to failure, the work sets, then somebody brand new, that will grow your muscles. Somebody like myself that's been training a long time, I need more per week. So for most muscle groups, I'm in the 12 to 15 sets per muscle group. Is kind of like the high point. And then, if you deload, go on vacation, come back a week later, you can dial that back down to like 8 sets of muscle group per week, which is like 4 sets of workout, if you work out twice a week per muscle group. So that's the sort of the concepts behind it. Now, what Myo Reps are is getting more effective reps in per set. So what an effective rep is roughly the last 5 reps before a failure are the ones that are triggering the muscle growth, right? There's enough tension. Because if you're doing a set of 10, the first couple aren't that hard, right? But then when you do set or rep 4, it gets a little harder. 5, 6, they're working. 8, 9, and 10, like that is work. Like if 10 you just get it up and 11 doesn't go, so you can only do 10 without weight. Sets or reps like 6 to 10, that last 5 is where the growth is going to come. That's going to be the biggest trigger for growth. If you stop all your sets well before you get that hard, you're basically leaving a lot of muscle gains on the table. You're not maximizing the effectiveness of your workouts. So if you did a set of 5, that's all you could do, a really heavy set. Every set was or every rep was effective. The big issue you run into with that, though, is it has to be really heavy. And for those of us who are getting a little bit older, a lot of heavy sets of 5 are hard on the joints. If you're a more experienced trainee, so that the weights you can lift are heavier, it's a lot of weight, right? If you're new, a set of 5, you're not strong enough to hurt yourself, or really put a lot of stress on the joints. Because let's say you're just starting barbell squatting. So you're a hard set of 5, where you might get, you could maybe get 6 or 7, is with 95 pounds. Well, that's not that heavy, right? In the grand scheme of things, it's not putting a lot of stress on your knees, on your back. Whereas if I'm doing it and I got 350 pounds on my shoulders, well, that's a lot of stress on my spine. That's a lot of stress on my knees. That's a lot of stress on my hips, and ankles and everything, right? So I could do the set, but it's going to take more out of me, right? So you understand. So that's why, when we talk about hypertrophy rep ranges, even though muscles will grow between 5 and 30, we usually sort of go like that 8 to 12 is kind of the sweet spot, because it's heavy enough that you're going to get stronger, but not so heavy that it beats the shit out of your joints. And it's not so time consuming as a set of 30. At least, a third to half of your reps in that 8 to 12 range, if you're taking it close to failure, are going to be effective reps. Okay. So, now we get on to Myo Reps. So to be more time efficient, so let's say you just did a set of 10, right? You couldn't do 11. 5 of those reps were effective reps. They're the ones really triggering the growth. But if you now do a set of 10 and then put the weight down, and shake it out for like 15 to 20 seconds, and then do 3 more, and then put the weight down, and then do 2 more, then put the weight down, then do another 2, then put the weight down. And you do basically 3 to 5 mini sets after your first set. So it's really one big set, but with little breaks. Instead of just 5 effective reps in that set, you can end up with 15 effective reps. Well, that's 3 times as many. So you get the training benefit out of one set that would take you 2 to 3 sets to get, right? So you see how it's more time efficient. It's more effort. They're hard, right? But can be highly effective. So this morning, like Catherine and I were in the gym, it was an upper body workout. And we use this all the time, especially during the week when we're limited on time, like Monday to Friday. We've got a maximum of an hour to work out. So it's like get in, warm up, do your workout, get out. Weekends, a lot of times we'll go a little longer, maybe an hour and a half. You're just not time constrained the same way. Say for shoulder press, and there's a nice shoulder press machine at the gym we use. It was like I got 12 reps on my first set. Then I shook it out. Then I got another 4. Then I shook it out, got another 3. Shook it out, then did 3 more sets of 2. And that is 13 after my first set. So I got 18 effective reps in that set. Well, you can picture doing 3 sets of that. Your shoulders are done. And it's just such an effective, like time efficient way to train. So basically to work my shoulders, and so we did the shoulder press that way. We did a row, like a machine row, machine dips. And so those 3 exercises we did with Myo Reps. And then we basically did some 3 sets of biceps, 3 sets of triceps, and 3 sets of dumbbell lateral raises, and wrist curls. And those were just all done straight sets, but just pump them out to failure. Well, we banged off that great upper body workout, and it was 52 minutes from walking in the gym to walking out. Instead of, doing, basically 8 sets for chest, we did 3, but got the stimulus of 8 to 9 sets, if that makes any sense, the way that, as far as total effective reps. So it really allows you to be time efficient. And then another way that we use Myo Reps is something called Myo Rep Match. So your first set will be anywhere from, like 10 to 20 reps, but you just do it as just a straight set. And, you go till it's really hard. You can't get that last rep up, or you could just barely get one up. And if you try to do one more, you wouldn't get it. So we call that our, activation set. So it's 1 set. You're going to get, your 5 effective reps in that set. But the next 2 sets, you have to do enough Myo Rep sets that you match the reps. So the first set, if you got 15, second set, a lot of times you're only going to get 8 on the first go round. And then you repeat until you get, you basically continue to do the Myo Rep mini sets afterwards, with the 15 to 20 seconds rest, until you get a total of 15. And you do that, for sets 2 and set 3. So you end up with that first set is basically an extension of your warm up into just a good working set. And then set 2 and then set 3 are your Myo Rep sets, Myo Rep matching whatever you got on that first set. And one of the things that I really like with that one is that when my first set gets up to 20 reps, then I increase the weight. So I'll, basically maybe do that once a week with a given exercise. And after a few weeks, that first set, I keep repping away and it hits 20, maybe it's 21. Well, then my next 2 Myo Rep sets have to be 21 reps total as well. And, because when you really milk that first set, the second set, you're fatigued. So there's no way you're getting 21 reps again. So you might get 10. And then you've got to do a bunch of mini sets to get it up to 21. And then the third set, you're even more fatigued. So maybe you only get 7, on the first set, the first shot at it. So then you've got to repeat until you get to 21. Then the following week, I'll up the weight. So I'll be back down in the 12 to 15 range. And then I just keep repeating, and that very, very effective. You get a massive pump, a lot of burn, but I find it easy on the joints. And again, very, very time efficient. So those are the two ways that we tend to use Myo Reps. One of the other things to keep in mind is you want to choose exercises that are easy to put the weight down in between. So I wouldn't do like a barbell bench press, or I wouldn't do a barbell squat. A leg press is great, right? It's easy to rack the weight in between. I wouldn't do a deadlift, but I might do like a back raise or a hip thrust, with the hip thrust machine. So when you finish a rep, you can rack it and just rest for your 15 to 20 seconds. For upper body, like pull downs, machine presses, if you want to do it for your biceps and triceps, like dumbbells can be great for it because it's easy to put down. Things like tricep push downs, anything that doesn't require like a bunch of setup to get in place before each rep or each set. So it's easy just to pick up and keep going to get your extra reps. Those I find highly, highly effective. And then from there, figure out the exercises, and this takes a little bit of experimentation. Figure out the exercises that kind of feel good to you when you do it versus, certain things. Like say when I do leg press with Myo Reps, I won't go super heavy, but I won't go super light, because if I go light, so it's my first set is like 15 to 20 reps. Excuse me. Cardio can be the limiter. Like you're gasping for air. It's not your legs giving out at that point. And I find that with a lot of lower body exercises. Like if you do Myo Reps with leg curls, that's fine. Your hamstrings are screaming, but you're not gassed, right? But if you were to try to do that with Romanian deadlifts, maybe it's your grip, maybe it's your breathing, maybe it's, there's all these other things that can be giving out first. So that's where thinking about, where the challenge of a specific exercise is. Like I find with a lot of lower body, I'll go a little bit heavier, lower reps, because then cardio is not the limiting factor. Or even doing something like if you do leg extensions first before your leg presses, like if you did a couple of Myo Rep sets of leg extensions, because that's obviously at the leg extension, it's easy to put the weight down and rest. But that you torch your quads before you get on the leg press machine. Well, now your quads are the limiter, right? They're going to give out before your cardio does, So that's those kinds of little techniques that I find sometimes adding in can really be effective in making the Myo Reps work quite well. So, yeah, give them a shot. Contact us and let us know how you found them, or if you got more questions, send it in. You can find us on Instagram at Live Wild Radio. We're on Facebook at Live Wild Radio. We're on the World Wide Web at www.livewildradio.com. All these places you can reach out to us. If anybody is looking for an online or in-person personal trainer, if you happen to be in the Kitchener, Waterloo, Cambridge area, then feel free to go to the website and click the coaching. You can send us an inquiry that way. Basically, while this, obviously, the coaching business is a business, our big thing really comes in is like, it is so, what's the best way to put it? It's not difficult to get up in the morning when you're actually making a difference in people's lives. It's pretty fucking awesome. And all you guys that write in, and sort of like thank us for the putting something we've suggested into effect and it's made, your life better. We always love hearing that, because the reason I got into coaching is I find it very fulfilling to help people, maximize their potential and realize their potential. And now that we've transitioned from, just athletic performance to, health and longevity, helping people live a better quality of life, I gotta say, it just fucking rocks seeing lots of people my age who, a couple years ago were running into the thing of like feeling like crap, not happy with how they looked, just not having any zest for life. But they took the step to do something about it, and dramatically, they feel great, they look great, their health markers have skyrocketed. It's like life has got a thing now, and to me, like, that's so. I'm so proud of the work they've put in, and so honored to be able to sort of help people get there. Because it seems confusing, but once you sort of get in the habit, there's little techniques like Myo Reps or, what have you here and there. But at the heart of it, it is just putting in the work. It's putting in the work over a long period of time will make you, a different person than where you started. So anyway, hopefully you guys found this episode useful and interesting. Try some Myo Reps. Very, very time efficient way to train and really rack up the gains as far as it goes. And until next time, I am Winston for my lovely partner Catherine, who is upstairs like doing like work. Probably there's some of them virtual calls or whatever people do. I just want to say, work hard and play dirty.